let's call the meeting to order at 6:33. Quickly present on the meeting are myself, Will Bissonette, Austin Rice from BCTV, Carla Lumbra, Steve Frisk, Rob Wright, Crystal Mansfield, and Helen Holt. So we can start. Oh, I think that's Irv.
Oh, Will?
Yeah, hello, Irv.
Geez, I had to try about 6 times to get through to you.
Oh, really? Oh, geez. Okay. We actually just this second are calling it to order.
Okay.
So to the list of participants, we will add Irv Stoll. And we can start with a couple of minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the regular select board meeting of June 9th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the select board regular meeting minutes from June 9th, 2020, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. We do have a couple of additions. We received correspondence from the renamed Negro Brook Alliance, Evan Litwin and Alex Hazard. That should have been in your packets, so we can discuss that under correspondence.
Yep.
I also got.
I didn't get nothing like that.
You didn't get that, Irv?
No. I was in there this afternoon. There wasn't nothing in my box.
There should have been a huge packet in your box,
Yeah.
or a really big one.
I picked up a bunch of stuff last night.
No, it was.
No, there was the whole packet was there today.
It would have been today.
Okay. Well, the other addition is I got a note from Charlie Marchant about using curbstone that's left over from one of the cemeteries to line the Negro Brook Stone Arch Bridge. So we'll take that under correspondence as well.
Yeah, but some of them curbstones they took away from some of their graves, so I don't know how legal that'll be.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it when we get to it.
That when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And then we also have the mower rental agreement for the roadside mowing, which we can talk about in highway, I guess.
I also have an addition.
Yep.
I received a complaint today from someone who lives in Townshend Acres about speed issues up here, so I wanted to just talk that through.
Okay, we can put that under correspondence as well.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Anybody else have anything to add or delete? Okay. Let's move on to the warrants.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 1 payroll in the amount of $10,157.58.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 1 out of payroll in the amount of $10,157.58 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 2 out of the payroll tax in the amount of $4,222.71.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 2 out of the payroll taxes in the amount of $4,222.71 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. One quick note before you go on, Rob.
Yeah.
I forgot to note it on the warrants, but you'll see there's multiple general funds. Some of those are on fiscal year 2020. Some are on the next fiscal year. So that's why they're duplicated. Not duplicated, they're just multiples. Okay, sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Yep. Make a motion to pay check warrant number 3 out of the general fund in the amount of $11,350.54.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 3 out of the general fund in the amount of $11,350.54 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 4 out of the general fund in the amount of $5,501.93.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
I just
Go
want to
ahead.
ask that, sorry, the ditch stone that's on this particular warrant is the ditch stone that we talked about at the last meeting, correct?
I believe so. Is that right, Steve?
I'm assuming that's correct.
Okay.
Great.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 4 out of the general fund in the amount of $5,501.93 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 5 out of the general fund in the amount of $149.55.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 5 out of the general fund in the amount of $149.55 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 6 out of the equipment fund in the amount of $864.86.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 6 out of the equipment fund in the amount of $864.86 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 7 out of the general fund fiscal year 21, $16,127.26.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm curious about the VLCT bill of
That's
$14,409.25.
that is, I think I looked at it today. It's their yearly insurance.
Charge.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an insurance
Thank
part
you.
of passive, I believe.
Yeah. So thank you.
Sure. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 7 out of the general fund in the amount of $16,127.26 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 8 out of the highway fund, $5,413.38.
Second.
Any discussion?
What was that? The uniforms?
No, that's
Yeah.
insurance. No health insurance. This one's health insurance for the
Oh,
highway
right.
department.
I realize it's highway, but I say it was uniforms.
No,
What
I
is it?
say it's
Been a
health
while
insurance.
since they didn't get paid, or what? For $5,000?
No. No, it's Blue Cross Blue Shield of Vermont, and it's the health insurance for the highway department.
The insurance were in the it's marked as general fund, but it was actually the highway fund number 4.
Oh, all right.
That was we kept going back and forth with them over how much we were contractually obligated to pay them. We finally got a number, so Elaine caught us up.
Okay, then.
Any further discussion on highway warrant number 8? Hearing none. All those in favor of paying check warrant number 8 out of the highway fund in the amount of $5,413.38 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Sherwood Lake has just joined us. Sherwood, we're just finishing up the warrants.
Okay. Make a motion to pay check warrant number 9 out of the general fund in the amount of $923.50.
Second.
Any discussion?
Can I just ask what's happening with the tree that they pulled out on the common? The tree care from Bartlett is $610 for, but are they replacing that tree, or what's going on with the tree that they ripped out of there?
They are going to replace it. This bill was mostly for the treatment of the 3 trees, and then they're going to come back later in the summer to address the rest of it.
Perfect.
How come that wasn't in the warrants this afternoon?
Elaine didn't do it until after the packets were put together, but I thought, well, I put it in your packet that I put in your box, but you didn't see it.
I was in there at, I don't know, 2 o'clock or something, and I've got everything, but I didn't. That wasn't in the folder with the warrants.
Yeah, it was in the folder with the warrants.
I looked them all because I got them all written down here because I didn't have no sheet on it. And I wrote down whatever was in that folder.
It should have been in there with the, yeah, it was added very late in the day. It's possible I forgot to put it in the folder and put it in the other folder. For that, I apologize.
All righty. No, I just was curious because I copied them all down. I sat right there at the table and copied them all down and went through them.
Okay. Yeah, it's Bartlett Tree Service. It's their treatment of roots and stuff.
Yeah.
So any further discussion on warrant number 9? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying check warrant number 9 out of the general fund in the amount of $923.50 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay.
Okay.
I will entertain a motion to take the agenda out of order and go to old business for an update from Sherwood on the COVID-19 town policy updates and town hall security.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of taking the agenda out of order signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Hello, Sherwood, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. And you?
Doing all right.
At least we're not underwater.
Hi,
Hello.
Sherwood.
True enough.
Hello, Sherwood.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Not too bad. I guess the first thing that I have for tonight is the policy. Just as a little bit of background, back in April, put together a policy about, and it was more of a directive about how to deal with the ever-evolving COVID-19 issues. That was, there were a lot of unknowns at that time. There are still a lot of unknowns. But we were able to finally acquire the thermometers that were required by the state. And we were able to acquire some of the things that were part of getting us on track to be compliant with the emergency declaration. And now that we have all of those things, we need to implement it. So the policy, and I hope you all got it to look over, is 8 pages long. And it covers pretty much everything that the directions from the state or the guidance from the state requires. It allows for most of the restrictions are provided in 17 addendums plus the general state of emergency order and the latest one where they restate everything and make modifications on several options. There's also with that policy the guidance from ACCD and guidance from Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns on how to deal with the basically the screening of people entering town buildings. Outside of going through and reading the whole thing, does anybody have any questions about what was put in that package that was sent out?
I don't have, go ahead, Rob.
My feeling is I kind of read through it, and it's almost like you should just shut it down and not bother with it.
Honestly, Rob, that's the safest thing that we could do, but
I read it, and it's like by the time we get done following all that, there might as well not even, the cost of doing business isn't worth doing business at that point.
unfortunately, because it's a big unknown, because the state keeps shifting and changing, if we don't make some small inroads, people won't get to do anything. It's like the town clerk being able to open by appointments, and the listers being able to do their thing by the deadlines that are set up, and on and on and on and on. We have to have something.
So in the policy, it does state that we should continue to have our meetings virtually.
Yes, it does.
Correct.
All groups, functions, boards, commissions, committees. There's 10 people or 12 people plus 5 board members, and all it takes is one person to get sick, and the entire town ceases to exist as far as business being conducted, at least for 2 to 4 weeks. And the older you are, or if you have any compromises, the more at risk and at threat you are from this thing. So I can give just a brief example. I'm sure everybody in the news has heard the Winooski outbreak situation. It was not inside a facility. It was a community. It was an Asian community up there that has been there for 45 or 50 years, basically refugees in a very insular society. And the members of their society got sick, and at last count, I believe there was 132 of these people between Winooski and Burlington infected, to varying degrees. And the last percentages they gave, it affected about 60% of that number in adults and 40% in children. So it just takes one.
Yeah. So anybody else have any other questions, comments? No.
The only other thing I would say, is the testing procedure for temperatures and screening is the biggest element of this, because we're saying that anybody that comes in on an appointment, whether they be a member of the town government operations, or somebody coming to do business with the town clerk, has to go through those screening, has to go through the temperature checks, and if they refuse to, they can't come into any one of the buildings.
I would just say, moving forward, that there's a lot of controversy around the temperature checks, and so Vermont hospitals are looking at whether or not it makes sense to screen for temperature moving forward. So kind of stay tuned for more on that. But, at the moment, all the hospitals are still screening visitors and anybody coming into the buildings, but there's question about the validity of a temperature check. So this may shift in the next, now that we have our thermometers, this may shift in the next few weeks as it continues to unfold.
Now, one of the problems with one of the problems with it is that the accuracy of the devices. That's why you have to have the screening questions to go along with it. And you have to give the health
Check
and
is that
safety,
more accurate? Yeah.
yeah, and the health and safety person for the individual building has to have the discretion to say, no, something isn't right. Even if the thermometer says they're below 100.4, even if they answer properly to all the questions, if the health and safety person for that building sees something that just doesn't add up, they can block access.
Yeah, but I think we're getting into a situation too, when we start to do that we're getting it, now all of a sudden, well, that person can go in, but this person can't. And, it goes back to the cost of doing business isn't going to be worth doing the business down there.
I agree. I would agree with you, Rob. It's
When
just,
I look at it, and it's like you're getting orders from headquarters, and those orders they've been changing by the day, the week, the month. We're down to it's changing by the minute. I mean, all of a sudden 2 weeks from now, Fauci could come out and tell us that the taking a temperature doesn't mean anything, and now we're going to go down a different road. And it's just like, well, all right, we can chase this thing around and around the mulberry bush until the monkey pops the weasel, but it's not going to. What are we doing? How far are we going to go?
well, the biggest thing about it is trying the best we can to eliminate the impact on employees, residents, members of the families. Nothing we do, to be perfectly honest with you, nothing we do will 100% guarantee that we're going to prevent this and we're going to stop this from affecting people here. But the best we can. That's all we can do. And you're right. They change. I mean, when this first started, 6 times a day I was getting conflicting information just delivered down to us. So.
And the part of it is as we learn more about it, the science is changing pretty rapidly. It means the policies are changing pretty rapidly. It's just the nature of it.
At least it's slowing down so that we make one decision to move in one direction. It's not changing before the end of the business day. The last time they actually made a change in the addendums to the state of emergency were 2 weeks ago. That was the 17th addendum. And what they put out last week was basically a restating and modifications, but tomorrow it can all change. Just can all change.
One other point that was in the policy before we ratify it was the extension of the closing of Town Hall and the Common for rentals, moving that to September 1st. It was what we had voted on was due to expire July 1st.
Yep.
So I just wanted to make note that will be changing. So we will not be renting out Town Hall or the Commons until September 1st. That being said, there is the possibility if something changes, a vaccine comes out tomorrow and it's safe to do, we can at the next meeting or an emergency meeting lift those restrictions at any time.
Agreed.
So any other further discussion? And I guess I would entertain a motion to ratify the implementation of the updated policy in response to the COVID-19 pandemic for the town of Townsend.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of implementing the updated town of Townsend policy in response to the COVID-19 pandemic signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. Sherwood, did you have it? We have it on the agenda that town hall security. Did you have an update on that? Or are you still
Not
pricing?
yet. Still working on that. Still getting the prices together on what locks and that type of thing will cost us.
Okay.
Sherwood,
Yes, sir.
one thing is the front door. That's in the National Historic Register. The whole building is.
Yep.
And
Yep.
one time they was going to change that lock, but they was going to run into problems because if they changed the lock, it was going to distort the door.
Well, they're making some locking devices that kind of match with those things, and it's that was one question I had moving forward with it, what we were going to get stuck with as far as historical building status. So I got it. I'm gonna add that to the questioning of the locksmith.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up because I know we run into that once before.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Could a locking, like a keypad deadbolt, just be added without actually taking off the original hardware?
It still affects the look of the door.
Yeah, okay.
It would in all likelihood have to match pretty closely to what's there to make it viable.
Yep. Anything else for us, Sherwood?
Not that I have. No, not today.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, and
Thank
all the work you're doing.
You are
Sherwood,
welcome.
thank you much.
You're very welcome. Take care now.
Thank you, Sherwood.
Yep.
You too.
Thanks, Sherwood.
Okay, moving back up to the agenda, we can do reports. Start with you, Steve.
Just after the last meeting, Elaine sent me a letter in regards to vacation carryover, what people had left coming to them. It was just several single vacation days, which some of us have used already or will use up before July 1st. And any vacation carryover needed to be approved by the Selectboard. Any carryover vacation will be paid at 2020 pay rate, and any carryover vacation would be used. So the only employee that's going to have vacation carryover is Lyman Roberts, and that's for 3 days.
Okay.
Tell them to use them.
Take his temperature, send him home. Okay. Steve, do you want to do the mower rental too?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So, find it in the packet. Actually, is that?
I don't think that was in the
I don't
packet.
think it was. I think it was
Did I
separate.
lose you guys? Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was separate.
What are we talking about
Separated.
now? Mower rental?
Yeah. So we got the roadside mowing rental contract, which is in line with the price that we were quoted and what we had budgeted. I talked to VLCT today and got the insurance rider. And I think, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, it's $3,000 for the week, and it would be the last week of August?
No, it is $3,300 for a
Okay.
week. It is for 2 weeks, and I think it starts around August 17th.
Yep, it is. It's the 17th, I think, to the 28th, if I remember correctly. So I would entertain a motion to...
Is that
Go ahead.
over the real mower?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion to sign and return the contract and insurance for the roadside mowing rental.
One question, Will.
Yeah.
Is that unlimited hours, or is that for just 40 hours, $3,300?
There is no longer an hour limitation, so we get it for 2 weeks. We can use it however much we want. That's right, Steve, isn't it?
Yes. In the past, we rented the mower for 3 weeks, but technically we were renting it for 120 hours. This year, they changed their policy. Hours are unlimited. So we reduced it to 2 weeks, saving the town $3,300, and I will put a work schedule together between 2 guys. So we run that machine 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and we do the whole town in 2 weeks instead of 3.
Great. That gets my vote.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of signing the rental contract and returning it with the insurance binder, signify by saying, go ahead.
I don't have a motion and a second.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry. I thought, okay. I will entertain a motion to,
I missed it.
Moved.
okay,
Yeah,
Thank you.
so I would, or second it.
okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor of signing and returning the rental contract with the insurance binder for the roadside mowing rental, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, Steve, did you have anything else?
Yes, 2 other items. Number 1, Roger Brown came to see me last week, and he's complaining about the change in elevation from the road to his driveway. So I told him I would take a ride over to look at it, which I did the next morning. And what I found was from Valley Cares north to one driveway past Roger Brown's on the east side, everyone's driveway has a big elevation change from the height of the blacktop to where their dirt is. Roger's looking for a load of gravel to be spread. He said he did one himself a couple years ago and then went back and saw Kurt, and Kurt promised to give him another one but never did it. But I know, Irv, you got the same situation.
Yeah, 'cause remember I told you I wanted it cold planed. There's over 6 to 8 inches of blacktop in front of my house now.
Yep, and you and about 5 or 6 other driveways.
Yeah, no, I say that's what I told you a while ago, that the plan is I'd like to have them cold plane it down so that they don't raise it anymore. I noticed in Newfane right now they're cold planing a heck of a lot of theirs, so they don't raise them up and drop the driveways.
So the question comes down to, is the town going to repair all these driveway aprons, or how do we want to handle this?
Where is the location of this? I'm sorry. I know Irv lives on Route 35, but where's Roger Brown on Route 35? I'm assuming.
Next driveway above mine.
Okay, so it's not like miles of 35, right?
So the first one that is pretty severe is the one directly across from Oberhill.
Yep.
And then you got Irv's, then you have Roger Brown's, and then you have that next house that's close to the road. I'm not sure that family's name. Has the same situation.
Michael Moore.
What's that?
That's Michael Moore.
Yeah, Michael Moore's driveway is the same way.
Okay, so we should probably talk about short-term solution. I'm thinking we put some gravel in to level it, or does it make sense to? I'm not sure what cold planing is, to be honest.
To be honest with you, I think that we crossed this avenue when the pavement was first put down.
I think you're right, Rob.
Everybody said it was all set and it was all good, and there's a wicked seam right in front of Corey Sleepers and Dick Lucier's that about, blows your bladder out when you hit it with a truck, and the whole thing wasn't very good from the beginning, but it got passed like it was nobody's business, and nobody questioned it back then. And
Well, that from Valley Cares to Corey Sleepers was done when they built Valley Cares.
It was not. It was done before.
Yeah, because they run them 6-wheel trucks up there to Charlie Matches and dump material.
Okay.
And the contractor that did some of this by here, and then after that, the town blacktop another layer top of that.
Right, that was only a few years ago, right? Because I think Rob's right. I think I remember discussing, like, when was the gravel going to get filled in on the sides of the road?
That is exactly.
But I guess it never happened, is what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Steve, do you have an estimate of cost to fill in that gravel? Or is that the solution?
I would have to measure it because I didn't know what the direction was going to be from tonight's meeting on how we were going to address this.
Right.
I can't come up with a number. It's not going to be a lot. We have the material, of course. It's just going to be time, material, and labor.
Yeah. And is that a long-term solution, or is that something we're going to have to keep doing?
Well, as we blacktop in our budgets moving forward, if you look at the center of town, right from Route 30 going north, the blacktop is at the same height as the sidewalk. That can't be paved again until it gets milled. Mm-hmm. So there's sections of Route 35 that are going to have to be milled before they get paved again.
Okay. So just something to bear in mind as we go forward. So I guess I would entertain a motion to have Steve look at the requirements to get these driveways leveled, and then come back to us with a number that we can vote on.
Second.
So moved.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of having Steve figure out what to do about the altitude difference on 35, signify by saying aye.
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 Sorry, Steve.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. So Steve, you can take care of that for us. I appreciate that.
Okay.
What else you got?
Last week we did change a failing culvert on Deer Valley Road. It was a 36-inch culvert that was collapsed down to less than the 24-inch culvert. So we did get that taken care of last week.
Excellent. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. All righty. No counter money this week. I do have the treasurer's sheet. In the sweep account is $1,334,893.50, and in the checking account is $30,000 even.
Yeah.
Takes care of that. And okay, on to correspondence. So I just need to organize a little bit. Okay, I think we'll start with the bridge itself. So I got a note from Charlie Marchand that the guardrails at the Negro Brook Bridge, Michael, I can't remember his last name, he's the same guy who's been doing all the work. Weitzner, thank you, Steve. Would like something from the town saying that it is okay to use the stone curbing as a sort of guardrail. There are 8 to 12 foot pieces of cut stone from the cemetery that would act as curbing. In other words, we wanted to replace the telephone pole wooden curbing that exists, rail that was there before. The stone would blend in with the stone of the bridge. Since it is just a footbridge, we think it is okay. And Steve Frisk knows all about it.
I still have a problem with, unless they get some permission, because they've taken them away from some of the grave lots, and without, as far as I know, without any permission.
Well, I think that I think that's what Charlie's asking, is for permission to reuse that curbstone or that cut stone.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've taken it away. If it was my graves site, I'll tell you, I'd raise hell if they took it away from there without having permission from anybody.
I think I'd have to correct you, Irv. I think you'd have to say your next of kin would raise hell.
Well, that might be.
No, Irv is definitely going to haunt us. I know this.
No, the thing is,
No.
I got no problem, but they've just done this without any permission from anybody.
Yeah, I don't. Where does the stone come from? Is it older
Well, they were
graves?
laid around the grave sites on the ground.
When did they come out?
Oh, probably, I don't know, like 10 years ago they started doing some of it. I don't know how much more they've done.
Is there a reason they were pulling them out? Does anyone know?
Because people have paid money for perpetual care in that cemetery. That doesn't, the town's not, doesn't pay for that.
Oh, okay.
There's
Well-
they had to pay money up front to maintain the lots.
Okay. What I'm going to suggest is that we table this until the next meeting, and then we can have Charlie come in and give us a little clearer picture of what's going on.
I absolutely agree with that.
Okay. So let's do that.
Okay.
So that takes care of the bridge. The other thing we got is we got an email from Evan Litwin and Alex Hazard, who are the co-founders of the renamed Negro Brook Alliance. And I will read you they sent a biography of Susanna Toby Brook and her husband, who was James Huzzy. And I'll read just the top of their thing. I'm not going to read the whole biography. But this is from the Renamed Negro Brook Alliance. We propose to change the name of Negro Brook in Townshend to Susanna Toby Brook. Susanna, 1750 to 1855, lived in Townshend, sometimes Acton, beginning as early as 1810 for at least 40 years. She died in 1855 at 104 years old. No other Black person uncovered by our research lived in the town as long as she, which makes it fitting that the present name of the brook morph into her name. We believe that an old geographic designation that pointed to African-descended people's presence in the town should be replaced by a name that tells an untold story of African Americans in early Vermont. Renaming it something that hides this history would be a missed opportunity to enrich our understanding of diversity in early Vermont and the contributions of people of color to our state and local communities. So what they're asking for is a letter of support from the Selectboard, which will be addressed to the Vermont Board of Libraries, which controls these things, I suppose. And
Go back and look that up. That's been Negro Brook for many, many years, over 100 and some odd years.
Yep,
Now, why the heck they
true.
got to change it? I can't, for the life of me. They don't even live in town.
That's what I was
Absolutely support
wondering.
changing the name.
So I talked to Charlie Marchant today about this, and he has been working on it for some time.
Who is this?
It's Christina talking, sorry. I talked to Charlie Marchant about it today, and he says that he was working on it, and he was starting to research the history of it, but then COVID happened, and he now has just had hip surgery, so he has not been able to get into the town hall to complete his research. He is not sure. The Historical Society is looking at names of what to rename it. They are not sold on, what is it, Susanna or whatever her name is.
Susanna Toby. Yep.
Susanna Toby. She did not live in this town for most of her life. He has some other names that they're thinking about going through also. He said that he has, I have my paper. He said that he has looked at it back to November of 1857. It was referred to when they were building what's now State Forest Road from Scott Bridge up to Negro Brook, and he said it was around 1867 in a land transfer, but he was not able to go back any further because COVID happened, and he hasn't been able to get into the town hall to do the research. So he was looking at a few other families. One he believes may have been part of the Underground Railroad, but he's not sure. So he was trying to do some research on it, and then was going to present it to the Historical Society. The library meeting is July 14th. He said he will not have it ready by July 14th just because of what's going on. They plan on having a person by September, when they meet again, is in September, to present as to a new name.
Okay. So
Christina, are you weighing in as a member of the public?
Am I what?
yes.
Are you weighing in as a member of the public? Because I didn't know if you were on the call.
public because I called Charlie Marchant to ask him about the Susanna woman, and he said that he was not sold, that they were not sold on them, and that they would like to do some research into somebody who was historically
Significant.
in our town.
Okay.
We
So-
just lost a person that could have told you an awful lot of stuff about it, and that was Patrick Chamberlain.
Yes.
No.
Because they own the land up there too. But between the state forest and Chamberlain's own that whole top of the mountain.
I just didn't realize you were on the call.
It's in my house, so
All
I
right.
talked to Charlie about it because I was curious, and that's what he said. So he would like to wait until September and present somebody that he's not ruling this person out, but they are not
Okay.
sure yet.
Okay. So then again, I think we will table this and wait on a recommendation.
Make a motion, we table it until Charlie gets back to us so we get a hold of him.
Second.
All in favor of tabling this until we hear from representatives of the Historical Society, signify by saying aye.
Of town.
Aye.
Aye.
Of Townsend.
Yes, aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. Excuse me. Next we have composting updates. We received a mock-up of a
Sorry, Will, I don't mean to interrupt. Is there another correspondence in regard to speed issues on Townsend Acres?
I don't have one. I didn't see one.
Crystal had one.
Crystal
Yeah.
had one.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. She added
Under,
it. I'm sorry.
maybe? It might be under new business, but wherever it needs
No,
to
you're right.
fall.
No, you're right. In my crazy chicken scratch, I missed it. So go ahead, Crystal. I'm sorry about that.
No, I thought it was under new business, but at any rate, I had a call from a neighbor in Townsend Acres who's very concerned about the speeding in Townsend Acres in general. And she didn't want to come before the select board tonight, but she wanted me to bring forward the fact that there seems to be, from her perspective, a lot of people speeding on the hill up and down, and wanted to know if the town, because they're town highways, could invest in some speed limit signs.
Well, that gets tricky because if they're not already posted, we have to do a study and then go to, I think it's the state for approval. Like, it's a process. I mean, we could certainly look into starting that process.
I would like to comment on it for one quick second.
Here because she asked me to.
Sure.
I like when we have complaints to have a name or something to follow with them. Other than that, we get into just a he said, she said mismatch. And, if she knows the name of the people even that are speeding, I mean, it's not, abnormal to know the people that are flying by your house when they live 2 houses up from you.
Yeah. What, does anyone know off the top of their head what an unposted road speed limit is in town?
I was just Googling.
50 miles an hour.
50 miles an hour.
50?
Yeah, but is that on pavement or is that on dirt?
At dirt, you can post them down to 35, a dirt road.
Yeah, but
I thought it was 35, but I don't know what I'm.
Any road that's unposted is 50 miles an hour.
No kidding, or really?
Yeah,
That is correct.
I thought I remembered hearing that at some point.
I was thinking if it was a paved
So there you
road.
have it. There's the answer to the question, or
Right.
his question, or her question.
The board would have to take it up and
Wow.
to post it down and take it up and make an ordinance that it was 35 or whatever speed they wanted to make it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think in order to do that,
Then it's a 40 day, I think a 40-day period in between from the time you make the motion and till it comes effective.
and
then
also,
you must put signs up.
and also, don't we have to do a traffic study? Irv,
Not
do you
on
know?
dirt roads anymore.
Oh, okay.
My understanding, because we didn't have to do a traffic study on the state forest road, and that's 35 miles an hour because they posted it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Went through a thing and put it down to 35.
And so I guess the question would be, who decides to post it down? It's a town highway in Townshend Acres, and
We do.
who would be
The select board has
We do.
charge of the town
Okay.
highways, nobody else.
So I think that's what I think that's what people are asking, is that we decide we agree to consider to post the speed limit here so that people that are coming up know what the speed is.
Well, so let's do this. I would entertain a motion to have Carla look into the legalities of posting down the speed limit on, I'm sorry, which road was it, Crystal? Townshend Acres?
The entire Townshend Acres property. It's all of Townshend Acres, which includes Taft Road, Plum Road, all the tributaries need to get posted.
Okay.
Was
So-
Townshend Acres like a development that was built that might be in the covenant? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, it certainly was a development that was built many years ago and built out since then. So, there are the tributaries and the artery, the main roads and all of that. There's no posting up here at all. So.
Okay.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to have Carla look into the posting down of speed limits for the roads in Townshend Acres.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Thank you, Steve.
Hearing none, all those in favor of asking Carla to look at the possibility of posting down the speed limits on the roads in Townshend Acres, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Rob, Irv, did you guys vote?
I'm not really hip on it. I don't know. We get into the
Okay.
part where most of the people that are up there, that live up there, they all speed. So it's like you're going to get into a situation where you're policing your neighbors when your neighbors could police themselves.
I think right now, though, I'm just going to be researching the,
I
you know,
understand.
how it.
We'll be researching Acton Hill and we'll just whatever.
Well, it came up as a concern from a taxpayer, so I thought it was important to bring it forward to the select board of the town. So whatever you decide is, I'm just one member.
Okay. So
And you've got
abstentions?
people that live up at the speed too.
Yep.
What I just said.
Abstentions?
Yeah, no, that's what I say. I know there is. I've seen it.
So Rob, are you abstaining?
I mean, if you're just investigating, now go ahead and investigate all you want. But I just think,
Okay.
you.
Okay.
That's what I think. That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Okay.
The
So-
people who complain about speeding are the ones that are speeding, and I've watched it, and we've seen it, and it's like we've gone around this bush a few times. So
Well,
So
maybe it's
with,
around it again.
all right, with Rob, if Rob is a yes, then the motion passes.
love.
So Carla will start looking into that. We have no members of the public. Okay, composting. So we did receive a mock-up of a flyer to be passed out at the transfer station. I also think we should post it at Town Hall, leave some copies at the library. We can post it at Riverbend. Regarding the beginning of taking composting at the transfer station on July 1st. Did everyone get a chance to look through it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It does have on the backside of the flyer what is compostable, what is not, along with some further guidance on recycling. So I would entertain a motion to also, Windham Solid Waste will give us 100 color copies, and Athena will be out at the transfer station on Thursday, July 2nd, which will be the first day of it. She won't be there the 4th of July, but she will be there, I believe she said the following week on that Tuesday and Saturday. So she hits every day that we're open. So we get people that, if they have routines, we'll all get to see her and get some information. So I would entertain a motion to approve the composting flyer to be printed and distributed as soon as we can get those done.
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the food scraps flyers signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. So Carla, could you email Athena tomorrow and let her know that that's good to go, and then get in touch with Bob to get those printed for us?
Absolutely. And when we
Right.
distribute them, I mean, we're just going to do like small stacks at the local places, or do you want to actually do a mailing? Maybe even do a black and white mailing.
Let's look into what it'll cost to do a mailing, and we can look at, well, I don't think we need to do it because the people that use the composting site, that use the transfer
Yeah.
station, are already going to the transfer station. The people
Yeah.
that don't aren't going to anyway. So I think if we
No,
just put them around town,
you
make
got a
them
lot of-
available.
Yeah, I
Also,
would
There's a
agree
lot
with
of people.
I would agree with that. I think people that are already aware are aware, and we don't need to do a mass mailing. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next up is Windham County Humane Society. This is the renewal of their contract for fiscal year 21. In their cover letter, they are making no changes to fees or services. So I think, where is it?
We're good.
Yep. So it'll be the same as it was last year. I want to say it was.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
They wouldn't answer it for me. Maybe you can. In other words, my dog got picked up. Somebody picked it up because it got loose. They took it to Windham Humane Society. The town of Townshend has a contract with them, but they still charge me $35 to get my dog back.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you, Irv.
But not only that, did you ever see anywhere any advertisement of where their board meetings are?
No, but we've discussed this before. Are they?
But not only that, according to the law, and I checked this out, that if they take public money, they're supposed to post when their board meetings are. And you're taking public money from the town of Townshend.
I'd like to argue with Irv, but I don't think Irv's wrong with this.
Okay, so then the question becomes, if we don't renew the contract, then if we pick up stray animals in town, the constables, the dog catchers, where do we bring them?
Will Bissonets.
Nope.
Second.
I'm full up.
No,
I got
not, but
3 already.
It's questions that I'd like answers to.
I'd like to weigh in here. I'd like to say to you, Irv, like if there's a fee for you to collect your dog, if somebody collected it and brought it there, that has nothing to do with town. The town's obligation.
The town is paying
Wait, Irv,
for a contract.
Irv, let her finish.
I would say that the town's obligation is to find stray and we have an obligation to that agency only of stray dogs or found dogs. If you have to pick up your dog with that agency, that's not for us to decide. That's for you to figure out with the agency. Not that I think it's fair.
Then I don't want my tax money going there. That's simple.
Why they do it. They charge the town a fee to protect and defend animals, and if you are an owner of that animal, then you need to work it out with the Humane Society, not with us.
Yeah.
I paid a tax on that dog. I'm paying taxes. Money's going
Yeah, I
to
paid
the Humane
for my-
Society.
Okay, but Irv,
But then if
the question remains, the constables pick up a dog, where does it go?
Yeah, but this wasn't the constable. This was some person that picked it up.
No, it goes to the Windham County.
I could see it if a constable did, but some person picked the dog up and took it to
the dog back out. That's not the town's problem.
Irv,
That's your
that
problem.
situation is completely outside the town. Somebody found your dog, brought it to the Humane Society.
Yeah, it was right in Townshend too, and they picked him up. In fact, I went through that same thing. There was one picked up at the dam that was within 500 feet of its home, and somebody took it to Massachusetts.
Well, that's
people
probably where they were going.
Leave the animals alone, they wouldn't have no problem.
But we have calls for the constables, who are our animal control officers, to come and pick up stray dogs. That is something that the town provides as a service. When we provide that service, those dogs have to be taken somewhere. That is what we're paying the Humane Society for, not for them for someone to bring your dog to them and then just give it back to you because you live in Townsend.
Well, I think part of Irvin's problem is not so much the part that his dog was taken and it was charged to him. It's that he asked questions of what's supposed to be a nonprofit organization, and they don't give answers. They give you we don't have to answer you type of answer. That's Irvin's problem. It's not the $35, so to speak, for his dog getting picked up that he needed to pay them when he got there. It's that it is a nonprofit, and they're not very forgoing of their finances and answering questions of people from the community that are paying into it. Am I right or wrong?
I do understand that,
the
Rob.
story of it,
Right, okay. So there was a little bit of a conflation of two different issues is what's happening.
So
we can look into their
No, I mean, you got to have a place, take them, go ahead. But I'm going to get a hold of the state of Vermont, and I'll find out.
I would absolutely encourage that, Irv.
Yeah, I will.
If they're not sharing their finances, that's wrong, and we should find out about that.
Yeah, that's what I will.
But in the meantime,
I'll find
we need
out
somewhere
if they're taking town money and stuff, and they don't post their meetings, then I'll get after them that way.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the VLCT might be able to help with that.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, your dog's fine. At the end of the day, your dog's okay. I hope that your dog's okay.
He's had rabies shots. He's registered with the town and the whole 9 yards.
Hope that he's okay.
But he broke his cable.
Yep. Okay. So I would entertain a motion to renew the contract with the Windham County Humane Society for fiscal year 21 at the same rate as fiscal year 20.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of renewing the contract with the Windham County Humane Society for fiscal year 21 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll be abstaining.
I'll vote in the affirmative. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. That's done. All right. Next up is mowing of Taft Meadows. I should apologize. I feel like probably should have brought this up in April, but stuff went weird. So last year we put it out to bid. Rob ended up bidding on it. We got no other bids.
Yeah, but you got to put it out to bid again. You can't just give it to
You have
somebody.
to put it out to bid. I agree with that.
Yeah. We haven't talked about any monies yet. So before we put it out to bid, Rob had been doing it out of the goodness of his heart and his love of the town. What we need to decide.
It want free.
Well,
What's
that's just me, but anyway.
No,
I think
he got paid
that's
for it.
good.
Last year he got paid for it.
Last year he got paid
Right,
for it.
yeah, last year, right.
So question is, Rob and I talked a little bit. Do you want to lay out what your plan is, Rob?
I don't know. Well, sometimes I don't. Just throw it out there. If we're putting it to bid, put it to bid. I don't care.
So then I would entertain a motion to put the mowing of Taft Meadows out to bid.
Second?
Does that include the ball field and the cemetery too?
Well, it includes all of everything. Whatever was.
Yeah, this says
Yeah.
Taft Meadow, which them other two are not Taft Meadow.
So it'd be Taft Meadow, the ball field, and the cemetery. Right?
Yeah, just before you get into the cemetery, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me just restate the motion. I would entertain a motion to put out to bid the mowing of Taft Meadow, the ball field, and the area just prior to the cemetery.
Second, or so moved, or whatever.
I second it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I
Hearing
just
none?
think, Rob, that you're going to get the contract, but I think that it's only right and appropriate, especially given your position on the town governance, that it goes out to bid. I'm sorry, but I believe that
To be honest
it
with
should happen, and clearly, you're probably going to end up doing it anyway, but I think it's the right thing to do.
you,
Only if he bids on it.
the only reason I charged anything last year is because it was a motocross track and people driving through it. This year, nobody's driven through it. So my point.
Oh, yeah, they have. Somebody with a lawnmower and a little trailer driving through it the other day.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't go by it the last couple days. My point.
Yeah, no, but I happened to go by and somebody was way out in it.
I don't. It doesn't matter. I just think it's
No, right.
Driving around in the middle of it.
And-
Over and
Yeah,
over.
no,
All right. So we had a motion and a second.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of putting the mowing of Taft Meadows out to bid signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So Carla,
Okay.
can you take care of that, please?
Yes. I just wanted, so last year I had put a little notice at the West Townshend store, the post office, and Riverbend, just saying that we were accepting bids for the mowing of Taft Meadows. And there was 2 people that Kathy asked me to call specifically. I spoke with them, yeah, nobody else would even. But
Okay.
I just wanted to, that's what I did last year. So do you want me to do the same thing? Or,
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, we got the agreement from Sullivan and Powers, who are the company doing the audit that we contracted with. And they are scheduling the audit for the 23rd and 24th. I read through the general conditions. They just need a signature on the scope of services and what they are going to provide and what the town will provide for them. So I would entertain a motion to sign the audit information from Sullivan and Powers and return it to them so we can do the audit in July.
so moved.
second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of signing the audit paperwork for Sullivan and Powers signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. We don't have a need for an executive session. I do want to just make an announcement that the revote on the school budget will take place on June 30th. I don't know off the top of my head what day of the week that is, but it is June 30th.
the 30th, I think, right?
Tuesday, I believe.
I think
Yep.
it's June 30th, right?
It is June
Well-
30th, yes, yes.
Yeah, so it's Tuesday, sorry.
Okay. So it's Tuesday the 30th. I just want everyone to know that. Does anyone have any other business? Our next regular meeting will be June 23rd at 6:30 via Zoom. And if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait, the
Don't
next
know.
regular meeting is
The
July
next
14th.
meeting is July 14th.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. Next meeting is July 14th.
What on earth?
So-
Somebody's paying attention. What's
So,
the
yeah.
date? Say that again. 7/14?
The date of the next meeting is July 14th.
You're so good.
I figured just after this meeting, we just do it again.
No, I'll just move
wants to
that
go
we
again?
meet on 7/14 Zoom-wise and figure it out from there.
So 6:30, July 14th on Zoom.
Thank you. So moved.
Okay. So
Right.
we are adjourned at 7:43.